All right, so today we are going to dive deep into something
Sounds good.
that's really got me scratching my head.
Right.
Warren Buffett, you know,
Yeah.
the Oracle of Omaha, the guy who's like the
Right.
investing legend.
Yeah.
He just bought even more stock
Oh, wow.
in a company that I have never even heard of.
Interesting.
And I bet most of our listeners haven't either.
Yeah, that's pretty intriguing, especially because
It's
Berkshire Hathaway was actually selling off
really?
more stock than it was buying
Huh.
in Q3 of 2024.
So they're like
So for them to double down on this,
unloading other things.
not once, but twice,
Wow.
yeah, on this company.
That's a big clue.
Was that a clue we can't ignore?
That's a giant blinking arrow.
Yeah.
So this top secret winner,
Okay.
as this article calls it,
Mhm.
is Heico Corporation.
Heico Corporation.
Founded way back in the 1950s.
Yep.
They make specialized components for aircraft
Interesting.
and other industries like aerospace and defense,
Got it.
even space.
So not really the kind of company that usually makes headlines.
Not at all.
And yet their stock
It's
is up a mind-blowing 51%
wow.
this year alone.
That's unbelievable.
So Heico is definitely doing something right.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks.
Yeah.
What is it that Heico actually does
Okay, so
that's got Buffett so excited?
they operate in two main segments.
Okay.
Their flight support group,
All right.
which brings in about 2/3 of their revenue,
To the majority.
makes everything from replacement parts for aircraft engines
Oh, wow.
to specialized avionics systems.
So they're
Well,
not building the planes, but they're making all the little
Their electronic technologies group,
bits and pieces.
which supplies components for a whole range of industries,
Gotcha.
including defense and space exploration.
That keeps everything running?
Precisely.
Oh,
And that's where their success story really lies.
okay.
They've carved out this niche for themselves
Interesting.
in providing these highly specialized, often mission-critical components.
So like essential stuff.
Think about it.
Yeah,
When an airline needs a replacement part for their engine,
right.
they can't just shop around on Amazon.
Exactly.
These are highly regulated engineered parts.
Yeah.
And Heico has established itself as a reliable supplier with a deep understanding of the industry.
They're the experts.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about selling widgets.
Correct.
It's about having the expertise and the reputation to be the go-to source in a very specific market.
And they haven't just been sitting back and enjoying the ride.
Right.
Heico has a long history of strategic acquisitions.
Oh, really?
They've been steadily buying up smaller companies in their field,
Interesting.
consolidating their market share,
Smart.
and gaining access to even more specialized knowledge and capabilities.
It's like they're building a puzzle piece by piece
Exactly.
to become the ultimate one-stop shop for these crucial components.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does that translate into the kind of growth that's going to catch
Let's look at the numbers.
Warren Buffett's eye?
Back in 1990,
Okay.
Heico was bringing in a respectable $26 million in revenue.
Right?
Fast forward to today,
Yeah.
and they're at a jaw-dropping $3.8 billion.
Whoa. Okay, that's incredible growth.
That's not just growth, that's meteoric rise.
That's massive.
Yeah.
But even more impressive is that they've been steadily paying dividends for over 4 decades.
Yeah, indeed, 2 consecutive semi-annual payments,
Wow.
to be exact.
That's a really long time.
And that's where Buffett's famous focus on fundamentals comes in.
Right.
He loves companies
Yeah.
that generate consistent profits
Uh-huh.
and reward their shareholders.
And Heico checks both of those boxes.
Heico ticks both those boxes.
It's not just about flashy growth numbers.
Exactly.
It's about long-term stability and reliability.
Yeah.
So they're experts in their niche. They're growing like crazy, and they're sharing the wealth with their investors. No wonder Buffett is on board.
And let's not forget the current market trends working in their favor.
Oh, yeah. What are those?
Travel demand is booming,
Okay.
which means airlines need more planes
Makes sense.
and more parts to keep those planes flying.
Right.
Plus, with global tensions on the rise,
Yeah.
defense spending is also on the upswing, which benefits their electronic technologies group.
So they're in the right industries at the right time
It seems that way.
with the right strategy and the right track record.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense why they're on Buffett's radar.
Yeah,
But what does all of this mean for us?
that's a good question.
Should we be buying Heico stock?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The article makes it sound like a pretty sure thing.
Yeah, they make it sound like a no-brainer, especially for long-term investors.
Especially for those looking for long-term.
But isn't a low dividend yield kind of a red flag for some investors.
That's true.
Less than 0.1%
That the dividend yield is on the lower side?
isn't really going to get anybody rich quick.
Right. However, for investors who are more focused on growth,
Okay.
that might not be a deal breaker.
So it's more about
Heico's track record suggests that they're reinvesting those profits wisely,
betting on the stock price going up in the future.
fueling their expansion and potentially leading to even higher stock appreciation down the road.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So instead of getting a little cash payout, now you're kind of betting on that future growth.
It's all about aligning your investment strategy with your individual goals and risk tolerance.
Okay.
Are you looking for steady income,
Right.
or are you aiming for capital gains?
Right.
Heico might not be the best fit for someone seeking immediate cash flow,
Gotcha.
but for those who can ride out the long game,
Yeah.
you could be a very lucrative play.
It's like choosing between the tortoise and the hare.
That's a great analogy.
Slow and steady, or
Yeah, and that's the key takeaway here.
the hare that might win, but might also, fall flat on its face.
Every investment comes with its own set of considerations.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Okay, so we've got this company with a proven track record, operating in industries that are only getting bigger.
Right.
And they've got the Oracle of Omaha's stamp of approval. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a slam dunk.
Well, not so fast.
What could go wrong?
While the article presents a compelling case for Heico,
Okay.
we need to remember that past performance
Of course.
is never a guarantee of future results.
That's true.
So what are some of the potential risks?
Yeah. What are some of the downsides investors should be aware of?
For one thing,
Yeah.
Heico operates in highly specialized markets.
Right.
That gives them an edge now,
Yeah.
but it also makes them vulnerable
Vulnerable.
to changes in those markets.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
What if new technologies emerge
Something comes along that disrupts
that disrupts the aircraft parts industry?
the whole industry.
Or what if defense spending takes a nosedive?
Yeah, nobody can predict the future.
These are all factors that could impact Heico's bottom line.
So even the top secret winner isn't completely bulletproof.
Exactly. And then there's the competition.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Heico may be a leader in their niche,
Right,
but they're not the only players in the game.
right.
Larger companies could try to muscle their way into the market,
They could.
putting pressure on Heico's pricing and profitability.
So even with all these positives,
Yeah.
there are still some question marks hanging over Heico's future.
There always are with any investment.
That's fair.
And that's why it's so important to do your due diligence.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Don't just take the article's word for it.
Don't take anybody's word for it.
Or even Warren Buffett's for that matter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what would you recommend our listeners do?
Yeah, what should people do?
If they're seriously considering adding Heico to their portfolio,
Okay.
I would suggest taking a closer look at their financial statements,
All right.
reading analyst reports,
So really getting into the nitty-gritty.
and really understanding their business model.
Yeah, go beyond the headlines.
Precisely.
Really dig into the details.
Look beyond the hype and figure out if Heico truly aligns with your investment goals,
Okay.
risk tolerance.
Be a detective.
Exactly.
Just like we said at the beginning,
Yeah.
we've followed the clues. We've uncovered some pretty intriguing evidence, but you still need to connect all the dots
You do.
before making a decision.
Right.
But before our listeners run off to read financial statements,
Okay.
there's one more thing I want to bring up.
I'm all ears.
For those familiar with Buffett's investing philosophy,
Yeah.
this whole Heico play might seem a bit out of character.
Now that you mention it, you're right.
Like, this isn't really his usual style.
He's typically avoided high-growth, high-tech industries.
Right. He usually likes those companies.
He prefers companies with a wide moat,
With the big moats.
a durable competitive advantage that protects them from rivals.
Yeah. So what's different about Heico?
That's a good question.
Maybe he sees something in Heico that we're missing.
It's possible.
Some kind of hidden moat
Yeah, some hidden moat
that makes them more resilient than they appear.
makes them more resilient than they appear at first glance.
Maybe it's that deep expertise in those specialized markets we talked about.
It's their deep expertise in those specialized markets that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, they're not easily replaceable.
They're not easily replaced,
That gives them some pricing power.
which gives them a degree of pricing power
Okay, yeah.
and protects them from competition,
At least to some extent.
at least to some extent.
Or maybe it's that long history of steady growth and profitability.
That's possible too.
In a world of boom and bust tech companies,
Yeah.
Heico's consistency might be especially attractive
Yeah.
to a seasoned investor like Buffett.
It's certainly food for thought,
Yeah.
and it underscores the importance of digging deeper and trying to understand the underlying factors
The why.
Driving an investment decision.
So we've uncovered this fascinating company
We have.
with this remarkable track record.
Yeah.
They're in the right place at the right time.
Seems like it.
And they've got the backing of one of the greatest investors of all time.
One of the greatest.
But the decision of whether or not to invest ultimately rests with you, our listener.
And that decision should be based on a thorough understanding of both the opportunities,
do your research,
and the risks involved.
This deep dive is just the beginning.
Exactly.
We've given you the tools and the insights to start your own investigation.
Now it's up to you to decide if Heico deserves a place in your portfolio.
It's like one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Building a solid investment portfolio requires a diversified approach.
Diversify.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's about finding a mix of assets that align with your goals and risk tolerance.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Even if that basket is endorsed by Warren Buffett himself.
Right. Even if the Oracle of Omaha says it's a good idea.
That brings us to another important point.
What's that?
Investing isn't just about picking stocks.
Okay.
It's about understanding the broader economic landscape.
So the bigger picture.
The forces shaping different industries and how those trends might impact your investments.
It's about being a detective.
Exactly. Constantly observing, analyzing, and adapting your strategy as needed.
And being patient, too.
Oh, absolutely. Building wealth takes time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
And discipline. Don't get caught up in the hype or chase those short-term gains.
Slow and steady wins the race.
More often than not, yes. Focus on building a portfolio that can weather market fluctuations.
Ride the waves.
And deliver those consistent returns over the long term.
So to wrap up our deep dive into Heico, we've learned they're a company with a really unique niche, an impressive track record, and some powerful tailwinds pushing them forward.
Yeah, they've got a lot going for them.
But we've also uncovered some potential risks.
Right.
And some unanswered questions.
There are always unknowns.
That require further investigation.
Always do your research.
And we've highlighted the importance of looking beyond the surface.
Yeah, peel back those layers.
Understanding those factors that are really driving an investment decision.
Know your why.
And aligning your choices with your own individual circumstances.
Exactly. It's your money, your future.
Whether or not you decide to buy Heico stock is ultimately up to you.
That's right.
But hopefully this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to make that decision wisely.
Remember, this is just the beginning of your investment journey.
Keep learning, keep exploring.
Exactly. And keep seeking out those hidden gems.
Happy investing, everyone.